Welcome to Business Success. I'm Chloe James for RFI Group. Tonight I am excited to launch a special two-part series covering Australia's Good Design Awards. In just 2 days' time, Sydney will host the ceremony, which has promoted excellence in design and innovation since 1958. Managed by Good Design Australia and amongst the most prestigious anywhere in the world, the awards promote the very best in design, innovation and creativity. From a trusted and independent platform, they showcase superior examples of design across industries and design disciplines. Tonight, before interviewing the winners on Thursday, which is going to be pretty exciting, I am extremely privileged to be joined by the CEO of Good Design Australia, Dr. Gien, as well as the organisation's chair, Maureen Thurston. Can't wait to kick it off, but first, a quick catch-up on today's business and economic news. The Reserve Bank is keeping the cash rate at a record low 1.5% in June, amid a mixed picture of growth signals from a strong jobs market to a slowing of house prices. The central bank says rates are consistent with the GDP and CPI goals, and it sees a broad-based pickup in global economy continuing. Ahead of the all-important GDP read, the RBA expects year-end growth is likely to slow for the March quarter, but forecasts growth to rise gradually over 2 years to just above 3%. Australia's lowest paid workers will receive a pay rise at the Fair Work Commission, lift the minimum wage by 3.3%. The Commission says the $22.20 per week increase will improve the real wages of employees reliant on awards. Business groups who are calling for more modest increases have slammed the decision. ANZ Roy Morgan's latest read on consumer confidence rising for the third straight week, marking the longest sustained rise in confidence this year. Confidence was up 0.6% last week, moving back above its long-term average. ANZ saying while the recovery has been encouraging, the headline number masks the weakness in sentiment around financial conditions, which have been falling since late January and are at their lowest level since 2014. Good Design Australia is an international organisation responsible for managing Australia's annual Good Design Awards. These awards are Australia's longest-standing national design awards of their kind, allowing professional industrial designers and manufacturers to showcase their expertise to a national and international audience. I'm delighted to welcome the brains behind these awards, Dr. Gien and Maureen Thurston, to Business Success. Thank you so much for being here.
It's a pleasure.
Brandon, Maureen, so let's just start off. It's exciting. It's a really exciting couple of weeks and couple of shows we've got going here. Tell me a little bit about the Good Design Awards, sort of what they do and who they recognise.
You gave them a pretty good introduction there, but essentially they were established by the government back in 1958 under the Industrial Design Council, as it was known then. Over that almost 60-year period, they've grown into representing the broadest view of design as we know it today. We have categories for architectural design, service design, product design, which is still very popular, digital design, communication design, design strategy, so looking at how businesses are actually using design, right through to social innovation. How do we actually use design and design thinking to help solve some of the world's biggest challenges? So it's an incredibly broad program that really looks at design in all its glory, as I call it, and very, very proud to have been associated with that.
Absolutely. Brandon, you've been running the awards for 21 years, you mentioned before.
21 years.
Not putting an age on you there.
Yeah, and it's been absolutely incredible to see design grow so diversely over those years as well, and just the calibre of submissions that we get entered into the awards is phenomenal, and also now that they are also truly international, so you're seeing not only Australian designers but international designers competing against some of the best in the world as well.
Absolutely. Talking about the calibre, Maureen, I'll bring you in here. What has it been like over the past? I mean, I guess it's quite a few months that people have been submitting, and they're being announced on Thursday night, as I mentioned.
Yes.
How do we stack up? How are they looking?
Oh, good Lord. We are in such good position. I am so impressed with the caliber, and every year it does get better. Even that we've been doing this for a long time, but I think this international play of having the world's best come in, it just lifts the game that much more. So you have some great examples of some of the best of the best.
Yeah, it is. It is. You know, I think that the general understanding of design has changed over the years so much, and you know, it's not just about beautiful products that have been entered, but as I said, business systems, the design of services. You know, only 5 years ago, when you spoke about service design, people kind of really didn't understand what we were talking about. App design, digital design, website design. It's incredibly diverse, and I think when you see some of the interesting projects that are submitted, I think the one thing that really is at the core of all these amazing projects is that they are actually trying to solve a problem. There's a real need there, whether it's solving a problem for a consumer. Or you know, an app that's been specifically designed to help someone do something, and they do it in a very beautiful, elegantly designed way.
Is that how you describe? Sorry, is that how you describe design thinking? Is that what design thinking is?
Well, if I can, I'd like to take apart the words design thinking.
Yep.
There's, just to be clear, there are ways to work like a designer, and there's ways to think like a designer. They really are fundamentally two different things. There's tools, there's processes, there's methodologies that allow you to develop and solve a problem. And it's usually very human-centric. It's always human-centric. It always starts from understanding the needs of the stakeholders themselves, and then you design backwards from there to meet those needs. Now, there are people that are absolutely equipped and prepared and ready to actually design beautiful products, services, solving a very specific problem. There's other individuals who are actually of that mindset. They have the disposition of a designer. They're open-minded. They have an explorer's kind of mindset. What I like to characterize someone with a designer's mindset is actually the same characteristics of a designer is the same thing as what it takes to become an entrepreneur, which is exactly the same way you would define a leader. So leaders, entrepreneurs, designers, they're all made of the same material. It's having that need and that desire to actually see every problem and then in turn turn it into an opportunity to create something great.
It's absolutely the kind of people that I have on my show, the entrepreneurs, the leaders, the design thinkers. The word that springs to mind there for me is curiosity.
Yes.
So having a curiosity. Would you agree there? And I actually want to bring you in, Brandon, and ask, because I know that you've studied a lot in design. Are designers, as Maureen is talking about, are you kind of born with that creativity? Can you learn it? And where and how could you hone your skills if you wanted to?
Look, I studied as an industrial designer, and I think that the thing that I find most fascinating is that I have this constant desire to question everything around me. Why is it so? Why have they designed that to be that? Well, how can it actually be improved? And that continual thirst for getting in there and trying to find out how to improve things, where the real problem is, and how do we actually use design to try and solve that. So yes, there's an incredible curiosity around just understanding how the world works. I think being an industrial designer, we look at the world through products and saying, how does the actual product work? And I have this desire to take things apart and understand how all the parts sort of work and how they all come together. And that thinking can be applied to a business. How do you take that business apart, look at all the individual pieces, and how do you all redesign them so that it's a harmonious business and it actually works as efficiently as it possibly can.
Yeah, I love the thought of bringing the business and the designers together. Maureen, we were chatting about this before we came on air, and you have just mentioned, leadership needing this design thinking, and more so today, big corporates, big business, they need this design thinking, right, to come out ahead. Yeah,
yes, they do. And to that end, it's about those organizations that truly do want to be prepared for the future. You have to be able to, when you look at a business, and leaders need to look at their businesses as objects of design. And what you're trying to do is actually embed a resilience and sustainability and relevance to your customers, your clients, as well as your employees inside your organization. So you actually have to take a very holistic view. Design thinkers, or people who think like designers, are holistic thinkers. They look at the big picture. And they also have a sense of envisioning what might actually be possible. So when you think about business, it's not about focusing in on the current state. Yes, you do need to be able to operate it at full bore. However, you need to be planning for the future every single day. And without that, and at the core of what design does, it allows you to envision those hypotheses. It allows you to test some ideas, and again, imagine where it is you could be, and then work towards that. If you try to just work towards incremental change and evolve slowly but surely, you'll still be around, but you will not be thriving. You'll only be surviving. So the whole point of design and looking at it as business as an object of design is extraordinarily important. I'm an industrial designer as well. And I think fundamentally what people who think like designers want to do is they want to make the world a better place. Yeah. That is at the core. And if they, no matter how they manifest that as an outcome, it's always about making sure that they have some sense of making not only an improvement, but is it better? Is it something that's truly good?
Yeah, it's sort of like a beauty and aesthetic, and then also something good in it. Just quickly on the business point, are you seeing good design in business in Australia at the moment? I know that's a big question, and we've got about 2 minutes till the break, but...
Good Lord. Yes, I am seeing good design happening inside of businesses. And it's usually because they're focusing in on the outcome, and they're actually focusing in on their clients and their customers, and making sure that they're building connections to and having purposefully going after the needs of those particular individuals. Because it always gets back down to relevance. If you do not have a product or a service or creating an experience that is relevant to an end user, then you're not going to be in business for very long.
Love it. I love the word purpose as well. It's very important. Brand, would you add anything there?
I totally agree. I mean, you just have to look at some of the amazing projects that come through the awards, and there's an abundance of businesses that are investing in design. They see it as an investment, not a cost. And I think the common thing that comes through some of the award-winning products is that at the core of it, they've designed something beautiful. They've designed something that's functional, and that they've designed something that's actually going to appeal to a consumer. And yeah, as I said, come along on Thursday night and you'll be blown away.
I absolutely will. Look, we're going to cut to a quick break, but let's chat a little bit more about this afterwards. See you then.
Great.